You made these provably false statements that I know are sort of like urban legend in right-wing media about margaritas in El Salvador, which is provably false. And so coming from the mouth of an FBI director to make provably false statements in a hearing like this is extremely troubling. And it leads me to ask whether or not the other things you've been saying are false statements. And so because that's a provably false statement. You made a couple others that are provably false. And this is from the mouth of the FBI director.
The only one that made false statements is you.
My final question to you, Mr. Director, is do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that? That's my last question.
What started as a routine Senate hearing quickly exploded after Senator Chris Van Hollen confronted FBI Director Kash Patel over firings, Iran expertise, immigration enforcement, and alleged false statements made under oath. But when Van Hollen asked one direct question, whether Patel knew it was a crime to lie to Congress, the exchange spiraled into a personal, chaotic clash that ended with Van Hollen calling him a disgrace.
I want to start with the question that Senator Coons asked you that relates to this article where the headline is Kash Patel's latest firings ousted agents with expertise in Iran. The article says that these individuals were fired for their role in the classified documents investigations of Donald Trump. First of all, is that true?
The article, just like all the other articles you cited, is false, and there's ongoing litigation, so I can't address it.
Okay. You did answer Senator Coons, and I understood your answer to be that the people that were fired, that none of them were part of the group that had Iran expertise. Is that your answer?
No, he asked if they were Iran experts. I said they were not.
Were the group fired? Did it include people who were Iran experts?
No.
Did it include people who were involved in counter-espionage activities with respect to Iran?
I don't have the list in front of me.
So you don't know whether or not you fired people with counter-espionage experience with respect to Iran. You don't know the answer to that question.
I terminated anyone and everyone that weaponized law enforcement.
I see. So it was related, obviously, to the classified documents case. So
that's not what I said.
Well, Director Patel, I understood you to say in response to Senator Murray that you've not redirected FBI resources toward the immigration enforcement effort.
That's not what I said.
Okay. Have you redirected resources away from your core FBI responsibilities toward the mass deportation effort?
No one at the FBI has been permanently reassigned on the immigration front, and when we pull the numbers, the FBI's overall operational field expenditures surged periodically for immigration enforcement activities, including the arrest of 2,000 people with direct ties to foreign terrorist organizations, was 2.4%.
So, okay. So the key word there, I guess, was permanently. You have not permanently reassigned. Is that what you reassigned temporarily?
Surges, yes, sir.
Okay. Have you had a chance to listen to or read about Brian Driscoll's statements about what you said to him and the reasons for his firing?
No, I have not, sir.
Okay. So let me just say this, Mr. Director. In your response to me earlier, where you had a little bit of a blow-up, you made a couple provably false statements.
So did you.
No, Mr. Director, I was reading about and asking you to respond to allegations that are made. In fact, I was giving you an opportunity to do that, and you took that opportunity. But in the process, you made these provably false statements that I know are sort of like urban legend in right-wing media about margaritas in El Salvador, which is provably false. And so coming from the mouth of an FBI director to make provably false statements in a hearing like this is extremely troubling. And it leads me to ask whether or not the other things you've been saying are false statements. And so because that's a provably false statement. You made a couple others that are provably false. And this is from the mouth of the FBI director.
The only one that made false statements is you.
My final question to you, Mr. Director, is do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that? That's my last question.
I have not lied to Congress.
I didn't
The one
ask you that.
lied to Congress is you.
Do you?
And
I'm not testifying here, sir, and I don't lie.
maybe the next time you run up a $7,000 bar tab, we can talk about it.
Well, see, there you go, lying again. You suggested
the
that was-
FEC report. I'll post it right now.
You suggested it was
Hang on.
public. It wasn't public money, as you know. That was for a 50-member staff party.
So it was a $7,000 bar tab.
Mr. Patel, I'm glad. Let me just say in closing, Mr. Chairman, two things. I'm glad that you have agreed to take the test regarding, whether you have alcohol problems. I'm glad you agreed with me to do that. You still haven't answered my final question. Do you know, Mr. Director, that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that?
I do not lie to Congress.
I didn't ask you that.
And you're insinuating that I am because
I asked you whether you know.
You want to correct your time in this session where you got steamrolled by the facts so you can have a Twitter narrative so
Mr.
you can
Director,
go raise more money and spend more money on $7,000 bar tabs.
Just let the
and
record
I'm not
show,
gonna give
Mr.
it to
Chairman.
you.
The Director of the FBI apparently does not want to answer the question about whether or not it's a crime to lie to Congress, and I find that extremely troubling.
I find it troubling that you lie to the American
with
people
law
every
enforcement.
day.
You are a disgrace, Mr. Director.
Not
and
nearly as big
the
as
fact that you can't answer that question, that concludes my questioning, Mr. Chairman, but I'm obviously very troubled.
The exchange began with Van Hollen pressing Patel over reports that FBI firings had removed agents with expertise in Iran. Patel immediately rejected the article as false, saying there was ongoing litigation and that he could not fully address the issue. But Van Hollen kept narrowing the question. He asked whether any of the people fired had Iran expertise, and Patel said they were not Iran experts. Van Hollen then pushed further, asking whether the group included people involved in counterespionage work related to Iran. That is when Patel admitted he did not have the list in front of him. That moment mattered because Van Hollen was trying to expose a gap between Patel's confident public defense of the firings and what he could actually verify under questioning. Patel then shifted to a broader explanation, saying he terminated anyone who weaponized law enforcement. But that answer opened another line of attack because Van Hollen suggested the firings appeared connected to the classified documents investigation involving Donald Trump. From there, the hearing moved into immigration enforcement. Van Hollen questioned whether Patel had redirected FBI resources away from core FBI responsibilities toward mass deportation efforts. Patel denied any permanent reassignment, but acknowledged temporary surges related to immigration enforcement. That distinction became important. Patel was trying to reassure the committee that the FBI's core mission had not been compromised. But Van Hollen focused on the word permanently, suggesting that temporary reassignments could still affect FBI priorities and national security operations. Then the exchange became much more heated. Van Hollen accused Patel of making provably false statements during an earlier exchange, specifically referencing claims he said came from right-wing media narratives. Patel immediately fired back, accusing Van Hollen of making false statements himself. At that point, the hearing stopped sounding like a standard oversight exchange and turned into a direct credibility fight between a senator and the FBI director. Van Hollen's core argument was simple: if the FBI director is willing to repeat claims that are allegedly false in a congressional hearing, then lawmakers have reason to question the accuracy of his other testimony. That led to the most explosive moment of the hearing. Van Hollen asked Patel whether he knew it was a crime to lie to Congress. Instead of simply answering yes, Patel insisted that he had not lied to Congress and accused Van Hollen of lying instead. Van Hollen repeated the question. Again, Patel did not give the clean answer Van Hollen was looking for. Instead, he escalated the exchange by attacking Van Hollen personally, referencing a $7,000 bar tab and accusing him of trying to create a political narrative for fundraising. That moment was politically damaging because it made Patel look less like a calm law enforcement official and more like a political combatant. Van Hollen seized on that immediately, stating for the record that the FBI director appeared unwilling to answer whether lying to Congress is a crime. Then came the line that defined the entire exchange. Van Hollen told Patel, "You are a disgrace." That closing moment captured the full breakdown of the hearing. What began as questions about FBI firings and national security ended as a public confrontation over truthfulness, professionalism, and whether the FBI director was treating congressional oversight seriously. The bigger issue here is accountability. When the head of the FBI appears before Congress, lawmakers are not just asking political questions. They are testing whether the nation's top law enforcement officials can provide clear, truthful, and disciplined answers under pressure. And in this exchange, Van Hollen clearly wanted viewers to see Patel as evasive, combative, and unwilling to answer a basic legal question. Whether people see this as a tough oversight moment or a political clash, one thing is clear: this hearing delivered a major flashpoint over the credibility of FBI leadership and the future of law enforcement accountability in Washington. Subscribe to Capitol Breakdown HQ for more congressional hearing breakdowns and political analysis.